back to another video. If you're a returning subscriber, it's great to see you again. If you're new here and you don't know who I am, according to my birth certificate, my name is Victoria. However, if you'd like to refer to me as one of the nicknames lovingly bestowed upon me by my friends and family, you can refer to me as either V, T, or Toria. All are fine, all work great, I really don't care. Who am I anyways? Just a floating blob in the universe. Now, for all intents and purposes, I am an artist. However, typically I don't enjoy referring to myself as an artist because it sounds very professional, and as someone who was barely able to master Microsoft Paint, I simply just don't enjoy slapping the artist badge onto myself. However, I do partake in very many artistic endeavors. If you have been here for a little bit, you may remember a video that I did not too long ago where I recreated a book cover in my style with the slight twist that I don't really have an artistic style yet. That being said, I'm here to yet again draw another book cover, because I said this was going to be a series, in my style. As is often the case in my ADHD delightful personality, I did not create a system for this last time, and so I ended up having to go through every single one of my books and count them by hand, and then insert that into a random number generator and select the book that way. However, this time, I created a handy-dandy printout which lists every book that I own. I numbered them so that I can simply enter that number into the random number generator and thus select a book at random. So the book that was randomly chosen for this cover redraw was City of Ghosts, which is by Victoria Schwab. She also goes by V.E. Schwab. I believe she writes her middle grade novels under Victoria and her adult novels under V.E. Very clever. If we're going by the Instagram post that I made in 2018, 6 years. I have not read it in 6 years. So the main character's name is Cassidy, and ever since she had a near-death experience, she can now see ghosts and even cross into what's known as the Veil, or the land of the dead, essentially. She has a very sassy cat named Grim and a best friend who is a ghost. So her parents, they do this sort of documentary on haunted places, and they take her to Edinburgh, and there are ghosts there who are a lot stronger than she's ever encountered before, and so she's having to deal with this sort of sinister presence that is trying to do things that are not good. Anyways, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the drawing process. So obviously we have to start out with a quick little sketch. Initially when I started this project, I was under the impression that I was going to remain optimistic enough to finish this on paper. However, after some intense clenching and drawing lines that were just frankly way too dark to erase anymore, I decided it might be best to do my quick sketch here and then finish up in Procreate. So I wanted the main element of the drawing to call to the central ideas of the story, and since the main character often deals with death, I chose a skull. Albeit a bit of a comical looking one, but worry not, I'll clean it up here off camera in just a sec. Wow! In addition to the skull, I added a cityscape in the background, calling to the original cover, and then in the eye sockets of the skull, I added the cat, and Cassidy, and a couple of phantom-looking figures. I also added a little bit of distressing, cracks in the bone. Unironically, I think I sort of gave it a Frida Kahlo special, and yeah, I just sort of cleaned this up a little bit more until I was happy with my rough sketch. once I was content with how everything was looking, I went ahead and scanned that in with my iPad and transferred it into Procreate so that I could start on the line work. Obviously, this is sped up quite a bit, but yeah, I went through the process of doing a little bit more of that distressing and just getting an outline going. To be honest, I can never really decide if I like my work lined or not, but in this case, I did choose to outline the skull, and I think it turned out pretty good in the end. So once I finished up the line work, I went ahead and went in with my flat colors, which is essentially just the base color that you use before you start doing any shading or anything. And I added a few additional details and cleaned things up a little bit. The color scheme was a little harsh in contrast for me, so instead of making the background a pure black, I sort of made it a charcoal and I added stars to sort of lighten it up a little bit. Next, I decided to add in a little bit of grainy shading, and this is from a brush pack called Petra's Pencils. I'll try to link that if I can remember exactly where I got it from. But yeah, I just went around in areas that I thought could use some shading, and it was kind of around this point that I realized I was making the characteristic mustache of an insane megalomaniac, so I erased a lot of that under the nose shading very quickly. So quick little run through of how I did the skyscraper windows if anyone's curious. I made a stamp brush, which isn't super difficult, and if you need a tutorial for that, I can do that later on. But I stamped each of the windows, and then I added a little circle of light with the Procreate light brush. I went into adjustments and I did Gaussian blur to kind of diffuse the light a little bit, and duplicated the layer, turned the opacity down on one of them, and yeah, it gave this nice little subtle glow to the windows. And finally, just a few little extra details. And now for a final look at the finished piece. It looks great, doesn't it? You don't think so? Oh, okay. One sec. Alright, here we go. This is the actual finished piece. I'll put it up on the screen. I think that it looks just similar enough to the original cover that it, draws from it and adds to it at the same time. I try to keep the same vibe that the original cover gave. Before I go, if you're interested in how to do that little effect that I just revealed the artwork with, stay tuned for a little tutorial. If you don't want to see that, feel free to head out. I really appreciate you being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay, you're still here. So, tutorial on how to do this little thing. So, the very first thing that you want to do is duplicate your canvas. If you don't know how to do that, you simply select and duplicate. In Procreate, by the way, in case that wasn't clear. So then go to your duplicated canvas, and you'll want to, if you have everything on separate layers, which you should. If you have everything on separate layers, you're gonna wanna go ahead and merge all of those together. You can do that in one of two ways, either by literally clicking and saying merge down, or you can pinch all the layers together to combine them. So now that everything's on one layer, you're gonna go into your adjustments and you're going to click liquefy. And I like to do, you can do any of these, but I'm going to do the twirl, and I'm gonna go twirl right. So then you just take your pencil and just like start swirling it to your heart's content until it looks like absolute garbage. And then once you've got that, you will hit reconstruct. And I don't think it matters which way you go when you hit reconstruct. I think you can go left or right or up and down. And basically you just keep fiddling until you have reconstructed your entire canvas. That is your quick tutorial on how to reveal your artwork with a twirly, swirly deconstruction and then a semi-clean reconstruction. Yeah. Anyways, if you stayed around for this tutorial, Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one as well. Bye.